everybody as well on this lovely Wednesday, the 30th of October, nearly Halloween. One Halloween question related today, so it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. I hope everyone's dressed up in something nice and spooky, and your kids are all planning to go and raid all the neighbours for any kind of chocolate or sweets or anything like that. It's a beautiful day here, and hopefully it stays like this tomorrow, so that the kids can get out and go around all the houses, do a bit of trick-or-treating and get all those lovely sweets. So today we've got 3 questions. As I say, one related to Halloween, one related to a teenager who doesn't want to go to school but knows exactly what they want to do, and the last one is about social media. So we'll have a little chat about that today. I suppose I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who's supporting the Patreon page, patreon.com/Alan O'Donoghue Podcasts. It does make a difference, and thank you very much to everyone who has helped and who has kind of had to move off, because that's the way the Patreon works. Some people will come in and some people will go. They'll come in for a short while, and it does make a difference and it means a lot, so I really do appreciate it. Courses. 2 weeks' time, Tuesday week, we have our online resilience workshop, which is a 2-hour workshop running from 7 to 9 p.m. Irish time. It's got a reduced rate of €69. So if you've got a child, and you want to try and look at building their resilience, this is a fantastic practical 10-step program. It works really, really well, so it's definitely worth doing. What else we got on? Yeah, we've got 2 parenting courses coming up on the 16th of November in Dublin, general parenting and parenting after separation and divorce. So I hope people will sign up to that. If you go to helpmetoparent.ie, we will get you signed up onto that course. It's, again, a very practical course, so let us know if you are available or you want more information. Just send me a little message and we'll see. Right, we'll crack into it today. First one, we have to go with the Halloween question. It's Halloween tomorrow, and it's a fantastic time of year. We all love dressing up and scaring the kids from the estate. The kids love trick-or-treating, and we love seeing them all dressed up. What does cause an argument every year in our house is the amount of treats the kids get, and they just want to eat everything in one sitting. We say no, they get upset, and there's usually a short while where everyone is annoyed. This happens every year. What can we do to change it? It is amazing how many treats kids get when they do trick or treat, because more and more houses, well, most houses certainly around where I live, do get involved and have treats for the kids. When I was a kid, a lot of houses didn't. They went out for the evening or just weren't available to answer the door, so we didn't quite get as many treats. But it's one of those things. It's part of the process, and it's okay to sit down and have a conversation with your kids around, okay, we're going to go trick-or-treating. We love it, you love it. It's a fantastic part of the year. But before we go out, we're letting you know that there will be a limit on the amount of sweets that you can eat today, and we will spread it out over whatever amount of time you see fit as a parent. So some parents might say, well, we'll spread it out over 6 months. That's fine, it's up to you. You might have a little argument before you go trick-or-treating, but it's okay to kind of sit down and look at it and say, well, look, we'll let you pick 10, whatever, things, 15 things, whatever you feel is okay for your family. We'll let you pick 10 things out tonight and you can have them. And then maybe a little bit tomorrow or a little bit the next day or next week, whatever way you want to work it. Is there any problem with that? And if there is a problem, well, you can say, well, that's okay. I understand that you're upset and, that's not what you want to do, but that's your choice. So it's either no trick-or-treating or it's trick-or-treating with a certain amount that you can eat afterwards. Now, some parents will sit there and go, Jesus, Alan, will you just leave it? Like, let them go. Let them eat what they want until they get sick, and then they'll stop eating. And that's fine too. If that's all right in your house, that's all right. Absolutely, you have no problem with that. I suppose I'm just relating to this person who says it does cause an argument because they want something every time, but they can't have it every time. So it's all right for you to kind of contain the amount of stuff that they eat. And obviously you can kind of have a little bit of wiggle room, but for you, I'd say sit down and have the conversation before. So you're laying the groundwork, you're letting them know these are the boundaries, this is what we're going to allow you to have, and then if there's any arguments, we'll either reduce the amount that you can have tonight, or we will, you're not allowed any tomorrow night, or you're not allowed any next week. So it's your choice. Now, it doesn't mean that the kids are actually going to go, okay, I promise I will not argue, and then they'll sit there like a saint. That may not happen. It might, but it might not. And they may kick up a fuss, but that's when you actually put the boundary in place that you've said. So, okay, you can actually have only 8 sweets now because of you kicking off. Or tomorrow you don't get any sweets because you've kicked off. And that's what you're doing. So you're just taking that control back of the situation. And you're happy for them to have a certain amount of treats. They're happy because they're getting treats. And they're getting to pick what ones they want. So, everyone wins and there's some sort of control on it. So give it a go. See how you get on. The big thing with all this stuff is that it's essentially what's important is you're doing something different. And that's when you can kind of catch your kids off guard, because they'll have an expectation, that you're going to do the same thing every time. So they get used to the argument. So they'll be used to, we'll eat, have an argument, eat a little bit more, and then everything will be fine. So it's all right for you to then flip that on its head and change it, and it catches the kids off guard, and then they're going to go, what's going on here? This isn't always the way it works out. So I'd say to you, just give it a go and see. With anything, try it, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You've done something different. That's what matters. And see what happens. Today I'm joined by Daisy, the dog. Okay, next one. My son is 13 and is in second year in secondary school. We have a farm and he loves being out with his dad and uncle on the farm. He's now getting to the stage where we are regularly having a fight to try and get him to go to school. He says that there's no point because his dad can teach him everything he needs to be a farmer and he doesn't need to go to school. My husband can be very wishy-washy when it comes to backing me up about the importance of getting an education. I 100% know he will be a farmer and will ultimately take over our farm at some stage and is such a hard worker. What can we do to get some balance and make sure he gets his education but still does what he loves? It's interesting, that one, and in a wider context as well. A lot more kids are showing that they have a fair idea of what it is they'd like to do. And they may not be the conventional things like, YouTubers or whatever, podcasters or, movie makers or whatever. And they can actually do it now. They can do it at home. They can learn those skills from a very young age. And we encourage it. We encourage them to do coding. We encourage them to go out into the farm. We encourage them to, follow what they love and take part in what they love. And that's massive. It's a massive shift. It's a massive step forward. And, here you have a 13-year-old who, like you say, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He wants to be a farmer. That's it. And it's funny, in my experience, farming is one of those jobs that kids just grow up and that's what they want to do. Everything else is out the window because that's what they want to do. Same as guards, same as nurses, and same as teachers. Those four are things that people want to do all the time, kids from very, very small age. So it's a difficult one because, as you say, he's going to get, he's going to leave school and he's going to be a farmer and he's going to take over the farm. So his pathway is essentially set up if he wants to follow that. And what he's saying now is that he does. And possibly I would suspect that, your husband may have done the same. So he may have left school early where there wasn't as much emphasis or pressure on getting an education because you could just learn the ropes as a farmer. And I think for your son now, okay, he has to stay in school until he's 16. And you might be looking at that going, oh my God, that's 3 more years of arguments trying to get him into school. But one of the things that I found can work quite well with people who are like this, who will take your son, so he wants to be a farmer, is to try and navigate his learning in school related to what he's interested in. And now you might be going, geez, Alan, I don't have time to be doing that. But this is where you can go and talk to the school. A lot of schools have a homeschool liaison teacher who is excellent, usually, and is the one who can come in and say, well, look, I'll have a conversation with you. You let the teacher know that, okay, my son is kind of arguing every day about going to school. Is there a way we can try and make, as best as possible, the the work that he has to do related to what he's interested in? So I have no doubt that if he's into farming, he's into mechanics. So he could probably, I reckon he could probably build a tractor now if he needed to. You know, the geography of the farm. He knows the boundaries of the farm, that kind of thing. So you can use your geography, you can use your history, and look at, say, history through the eyes of, you know, local farming, or how that built up, so that he has something that he can hook into related to the subject that he's doing. Now, it's not easy, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be anything major. It can be as simple as sitting down with him with Google, and if he is doing a geography project, go, well, look, you know, what is the geography of farming? Yeah, oh, related to this. Now, you know, if you're doing rock formations, well, what are the rock formations we have here? And, you know, what's important about knowing this as a farmer? Because there is things that you do need to know. Physics, like, essentially, you could probably hook everything into farming, and he might go, "Mum, I'm still not interested." And you go, "That's absolutely fine." But if you look at where farming has gone specifically, you do need to have some sort of education around it, because there's so much more involved. Certainly in Europe, there's so much more involved than just looking after cattle, looking after livestock, looking after whatever. There's a lot more to it now, and you need to have that bit of education. And if you can start to form a pathway with them that includes education, but that he still gets to go and you know, follow his passion. So even if his education is just the bare minimum, and he passes every exam, and that's all right, that's, you know, a great way of him buying into it as best as possible. Now, I can't say that he's going to be turning around and skipping his way to school every single morning. That's probably not going to happen. But you can start to find ways that it will link in. The other issue I'd say that would be important for you to look at is you and your husband. So there looks like there could be a conversation for you guys to have around, okay, we need to be singing off the same page. And explain this to him. Look, sit down, write it out, make the plan. Go back maybe 4 or 5 episodes where I gave out the parenting plan steps. Go through those steps and look at, okay, well, you may, as you know, a farmer, say, well, look, he doesn't really need an education, but things are changing, so he probably does. And this is how I feel we can actually make it work, and this is how I feel that it can start to actually change for the positive, so he buys into some sort of education and still gets to do all the stuff that he loves. It's not that education is the be all and end all, but he is 13 and he may change his mind. And if he has an education behind him, some sort of education behind him, well, then he's in a better position that if he does change his mind, that he'll be okay, that he's not having to go back to school at a later date and turn around to you and go, "Why didn't you make me stay in school?" Which might still happen anyway. So sit down with your husband, plan out how you think you can hook things in, and ask your husband, like, he is an actual farmer, and I'm sure you have a lot of knowledge as well, probably maybe more so than your husband, but he might be able to come up with a few other suggestions of, yeah, well, definitely chemistry, this is how we can hook chemistry, and this is how we can hook biology, and this is how, whatever. He might have different ideas, and as a family you start to work together to support your son to stay in education and see the benefit of it related to what he's interested in. And I would say that to any parent, if you've got a child who is, you know, says, "I want to be a mechanic," that's it, that's all I want to do. Look at the maths in relation to mechanics, look at the physics in relation to mechanics, look at the geography in relation to mechanics. And it doesn't have to be in-depth, it doesn't have to be massive, it could be a simple search related to the topic that he's discussing each time, and see if there's something there. There may not be, but at least you're trying to, you're planting a seed that what you're interested in is probably related to some of the subjects you're doing in school. And let him go for it, and give it a go and see. Okay. Good morning, Jennifer. I hope you're well. And Alessandra, nice to meet you too. And Vivian, good to see you too. I hope you guys are all well. Okay, last one for today. Myself and my husband have been having some difficulty. Our little boy is a year and a half old and is so cute. I take tons of pictures of him and put them up on my social media, but my husband says that it's way too much and that our son will think he needs approval from people around how he looks as he grows up. My husband has no social media presence, but I find it a great way to keep in touch with family and friends who don't get to see us very often. How can we resolve this? I don't want to stop, but I don't want it to become a major issue between us. So I suppose since the advent of social media, really, parents have been uploading photographs of their kids for exactly that reason. It's a good way for relations and friends to see your kids growing up, and it's lovely that they can buy into it, and see the development that maybe they're missing out on. So it's very different than years and years ago. But I suppose there is a balance, really, isn't there? There's the thing of constant upload, where it nearly becomes a part-time job that you're putting so many photographs of your kids up. And with the best will in the world for all of us as parents, most people aren't as interested in our kids as we are. It's just a fact of life. And if we are constantly bombarding people with our photographs of our kids, we will get likes. We will get, oh, how cute. Oh, how lovely. Oh, do. But there does come a point where people will go, oh, here's another photograph of the child, another photograph of the child. And people start to switch off. Then there is the other side, which your husband does have a point. We're not sure what's going to happen yet for adults who have literally spent their lives, their young lives, behind the lens, in front of the lens of a camera and on social media, where they have no control over what gets put up. So it's an uncharted territory. We don't know what's going to happen. Who knows, there may well be a case where one child takes their parents to court because, they were taking 50 million photographs of them and putting them on social media. It might not happen, but it might. So I think it is about getting a balance and, and what's the purpose of it? If you're putting, a photograph or two up a week, okay, that's grand. If you find you're putting 10, 12, 15 photographs up, what's the purpose of it? Like, are you building this for other people? Are you building it because you think your child is the most beautiful child in the world, and they may well be? Are you building it because you're looking at, well, I want my child to have, 500,000 followers on Instagram by the time they're 8, so that they are then a social media star before they even realise what social media is. And it's up to you. Like, ultimately, you have to look after your own family, but that's your choice. It's not your child's choice. And there may be backlash for you in the future. There might not be. There might be just people don't care. Your kids don't care. They're like, yeah, it's just normal. I'm just used to it. I'm just taking photographs and posing all the time. But maybe your kids don't want that. And there may come a time where they'll go, I'm not doing it. Don't take another photograph of me. And put it up. And that's where you need to get that balance. So I suppose maybe sit down with your husband, go through his concerns, go through what it is about it that you love, try and separate the emotion behind it, because I actually think that in the here and now in the real world, you're probably both right. I think you're right, because it is good that friends and family get to see your kids. Personally, I stopped putting photographs of my kids up on social media pretty much, bar the very odd exception, years ago, because I just didn't want to. I just stopped, because it wasn't something that was for me. I don't plaster my kids all over the place, because it's up to them whether or not they want to do this as they get older. So that's just for me. That might not be right for you, and that's okay too. So we all have to just work out what is the best thing to do for ourselves and our family. If it is something that you and your husband sit down and plan out and say, well, look, right, let's make a decision that we're going to put up 3 photographs a week, or 2 photographs a week, or 1 photograph a week. And if you both agree to it, then stick to it. People are still seeing the development of your child. And the other side of it, all this is, we do now live in a society where a lot of people are very quick. If they see something happening, their first thought is to go and start filming. And I still find it amazing that so many of us go to that as opposed to maybe there's somebody who needs some help. But the first thing we think of is, let's start recording it, not can I help this person? And that's where things flip. So for you, maybe it is about sitting down and looking at, do I need to be taking 20 photographs of my child every single day? What is the benefit to my child? Am I just clicking to try and find the perfect photograph, when maybe what's important is just spending time with my child, actually doing something with my child? Now, you may well be doing tons with your child, so I'm not casting any aspersions. But what I'm saying is, maybe it's something you have to look at, if it is an issue for you, that you are actually doing click, more so than tickle, or playing and running around. Because so much of our lives now are on social media, and our children then begin to learn that this is the most important thing. That is the thing that we need to be on. And then so many parents I work with turn around and say, kids are a disgrace. Teenagers are a disgrace because they are literally walking around with their phones attached to their hands. Guess what? They learned from us. We are the ones who started this. We are the ones who are actually walking around taking photographs, recording everything on our phones the whole time. I'm holding my hands up here. Not every single one of us, a lot of us are doing it. Our kids are watching us to see how we are as adults, how to live in this world. And what they're seeing is a phone is an essential part of it, because that's what we do all the time. So maybe it's okay to put those phones away and teach our kids that it's all right to put the phone down. It's all right to not be in constant contact with people, because that's not how life goes. We all need time to switch off. We all need the ability to just sit back and go, okay, I can just be silent. I can actually just be quiet. And then the other thing, and it's just an area of caution, if you find that you're disappointed with the number of likes or shares or whatever that your photographs start to get, well, then that's something else that you need to look at. That's something that you need to take on board and go, okay, this isn't right. I can't be disappointed that my child's photograph only got 20 likes. It should have got, like yesterday's one got 200. That's when things need to change. That's when you need to look at your interpretation of what brings contentment and happiness. So there's a lot of information there. Sit down with your husband, have a conversation, say, look, this is why I enjoy it, and he can say, this is why I don't like it, and then find a common ground and stick to it and go from there. Okay, guys, have a wonderful Halloween. I don't have a Halloween themed mug, actually, unfortunately. Probably should have picked one up next year. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please do sign up for our resilience course and our parenting course, and keep helping out on the Patreon page. Take care.